By 40, money should be the most boring subject in your life. For most people, it's the one thing they still need to worry about. This debate is a cold war fought inside the heads of smart, ambitious people who disagree violently on the definition of freedom. Both sides have a powerful argument, and the path you choose will define the second half of your life. Where do you stand? By the end of this, you might just switch sides. The first argument is the one our culture is finally starting to understand. It's the path of the system builder, the engineer of independence. This philosophy sees money as a math problem, a solvable one. The core belief is that freedom is a number. Get to your number, and you win. The goal is to make your money work harder than you do, so that one day you don't have to work at all. It's the engine behind the financial independence retire early movement. FIRE, and its logic is brutally effective. Here's how the machine works. You live on a fraction of your income, maybe half, maybe more. You take the difference and you pour it into assets, index funds, real estate, businesses, things that generate income while you sleep. You track every dollar. You optimize every expense. You see your daily coffee as a tiny mortgage on your future freedom. $5 a day, compounded over 15 years, is tens of thousands of dollars. It's a year of your life you could buy back. This path requires a monk-like discipline in your 20s and 30s. It means saying no. No to the expensive car. No to the lifestyle upgrades that come with every raise. No to the spontaneous trips your friends are taking. Each no is a deposit into the bank of your future self. The proponents of this view are clear-eyed realists. They see the world for what it is, a system that will happily trade your best years for a paycheck until you're too old and tired to enjoy your savings. They're opting out. They are building a life raft while the sun is shining, knowing a storm eventually comes for everyone. For them, making money irrelevant by 40 is a concrete project plan. It has milestones, a savings rate, a net worth target, usually 25 times their annual expenses. The prize is incredible. Imagine waking up at 39, knowing you never have to answer to a boss again. Your time is completely your own. You can write a novel, learn a language, or just read in a park. You've purchased the remainder of your one life. That sounds like victory, a total victory. But there's a chilling question that haunts this path. What is the cost of a decade spent staring at a spreadsheet? This brings us to the second argument, the path of the experience optimizer. This side looks at the system builder and sees a tragedy. They see someone spending their prime physical years, their youth, their most energetic and curious decade, chained to a desk to save for a future that's never guaranteed. The experience optimizer argues that freedom is a choice you make today, not a number you hit tomorrow. They believe that making money irrelevant happens in the mind, by changing your relationship with it. They prioritize time and experience over capital accumulation. Right now, this person might choose a lower-paying job that offers more flexibility or meaning. They might move to a cheaper country and live like a king on a fraction of the income. They are a minimalist, finding wealth in relationships, skills, and moments, rather than in a brokerage account. They see the system builder's sacrifice as a profound mistake. They ask, "You saved all that money, but what did you live? Do you remember the interest rate on your portfolio in your 28th year? Or do you remember the sunset in a foreign city? You spent 15 years optimizing your savings rate, but did you ever optimize for joy, for serendipity, for love?" These are the metrics they track. Their argument is deeply compelling because it speaks to a fundamental human truth. Our life is the sum of our days, and spending 5,000 of those days in a state of deferred living is a gamble of cosmic proportions. You could get hit by a bus the day after you reach your FIRE number. Your partner could leave you because you became a person who values compound interest more than shared experience. The experience optimizer argues that the whole point of money is to facilitate a good life. So why build a system that requires you to live a constrained life first? They argue for a life rich in stories, even if it's poor in assets. You learn the language. You take the dance class. You start the risky project. You live. And yet, the other side has its own brutal blind spot. What happens when the roof leaks? The experience optimizer's philosophy works perfectly until it doesn't. It's a beautiful system for a healthy, single 25-year-old. It gets much harder when a child enters the picture, or a medical diagnosis, or a parent who needs care, a life built purely on present-moment optimization can be fragile. It can mistake privilege for philosophy. Having the option to live cheaply in another country is a freedom many don't have. Shrugging at a low bank account is easy when you're young enough to bounce back. At 45, with a weak resume and no savings, that same attitude looks less like freedom and more like denial. Critics of this path argue that it's a romantic coping mechanism for a lack of discipline. It's a way to feel good about consuming your seed corn. It avoids the hard, boring work of building a foundation. Without a financial base, your freedom is illusory. You are one bad month away from being forced to take any job you can get, completely erasing the autonomy you so highly prized. You aren't free from the system. You're just operating without a safety net, one gust of wind away from disaster. So is this philosophy just a luxury for the young and the lucky? The truth, as usual, is more complicated. The debate itself exposes a false dichotomy. It presents two extreme paths when the solution for most might lie in the middle. The key word is irrelevant. Irrelevant doesn't mean having zero money. It also doesn't mean having infinite money. It means money is no longer a primary variable in your major life decisions. It's been solved, automated, and relegated to a background process. Like your breathing, you don't think about it, but it's working. This suggests a hybrid approach, a barbell strategy. On one end, you build a foundation that is secure and boring. You automate your savings. You invest in low-cost index funds. You build a system that guarantees you won't be destitute. This is your safety bar. But on the other end, you take big calculated risks with your time and energy. You pursue the creative project. You take the lower-paying job with a steep learning curve. You spend extravagantly on things that truly matter to you, like travel or education, while being ruthless about cutting costs on things that don't. You refuse to let the accumulation engine consume your entire identity. This person understands the system builder's math, but rejects their life philosophy. They understand the experience optimizer's desire for a rich life, but reject their financial fragility. They might aim to make money irrelevant by 40 by having a good enough number. A number that doesn't allow for a life of pure leisure, but one that allows them to take a year off, to switch careers, or to absorb a major life shock without panicking. Their goal isn't to retire, their goal is to be unsackable, to have options, to own their time, even if they still choose to trade some of it for a paycheck. Freedom is the ability to say no, to a boss, to a project, to a way of life. That freedom requires some money. How much is the real question? The psychological shift is the final piece of the puzzle. Both the hardcore saver and the carefree traveler are still thinking about money constantly, one by its accumulation, the other by its absence. The person who succeeds in making it irrelevant has simply stopped playing the game. They've automated the boring parts, aligned their spending with their deepest values, and moved on to more interesting problems. They are no longer a consumer or an investor first. They are a parent, an artist, a creator, a human being. Money is a tool in their toolbox. It is never the whole toolbox. So what do you think? The debate comes down to a fundamental trade-off. Is freedom a fortress you build brick by painstaking brick over 20 years, locking the gates against the world until it's finished? Or is freedom the wind at your back today, even if it means you have no shelter when the storm arrives? Where do you draw the line between responsibility and living?